So, today we have another very, very warm day in the UK, which is highly unusual but wonderful. I'm going to take you through a series that will deal with all of the upper body here, from the shoulder, obviously down to the trunk area, meaning your upper back, all of your arms. We're going to start the series today, or the session today, that's part of this kind of 1, 2, 3. On Monday we did abs and thighs, Tuesday we did abs and imprint, and today we're doing upper body to get your back working with everything you've learned so far. Your start shape will be standing, because the simple use of the arms and the squat is where we're going to get the blood flow from. You know the drill, your feet are parallel and your squat and stand. Taking the hips back and pulling forwards. Initially I've asked you to take your arms backwards just to wake up the upper back area as you wake up your blood flow, your core connection and your grounding. The grounding is your heels pushing into the mat, the outsides of your feet, the feel of tracking the thigh bones, keeping them parallel and not letting them wander in, not out, depending on what your wandering phase is. Inhaling, lowering down and breath out, coming back up. Go down and stay, and then relax your arms, just sort of roll the shoulders, keep the stability in the lower back with the abdominals and the hamstrings and glutes, and let that go. With your upper body chilled and released, keeping the tension glute area here, we've got our roll down to release. A big breath in. The breath out is always going to be a chin to chest. You'll breathe in again, keep your hands on your thighs. The following breath out is to unstack your stiffened upper back usually. Have a breath in without tucking the bottom under. Breathing out, slide your hands down, 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 down till you find yourself released in the upper back, the neck, the shoulders, and the hamstrings get there. Time to have that little bit of a stretch as you press the ground away and bend. Exhaling to push and pull, push and pull. All the while the navel to the spine, the legs stretch into your hamstring calf area. 2 more. And with this last one, stay with a bent leg. Walk the hands back to where the knee thigh area is. Leave the head hanging as you do your rolling spine shape, bringing yourself up to rolling shoulders and standing tall. You now need to work out a good strong standing position with your feet. If you're quite unstable, maybe take your feet further wide apart, but don't let the feet go to turn out. Find your pelvic stabilizers and make sure your body is in imprint to neutral. Now the lordotic, you feel as though you're slightly tucked under more. The flat back, don't tuck the bum under. So the sense of connecting to your obliques is the best way I know how to say this. This is where we start our arm workout. You're going to be standing for a little bit of time. It looks like nothing, but it'll start to feel like something. I'm asking you to draw the pelvic floor up, to shrink away from your clothing, to melt the rib cage under the waistband and the hip bones under the waistband. Remember, if you're a flat back, I'm not asking you to tuck under anymore. It's the lordosis person that needs to do that little bit of a pubis forwards. First movement patterns then, we float our arms forwards and pull them back again. Using your breath in to float your arms up. Your shoulders stay away from the neck. The crown of the head is reaching. Some of you need to draw that chin in because we need you to have a long spine, a long neck, the sensation of staying in a neutral stance. What's happening in stability terms is the back of the thighs are probably working to pull up heels. The front hip bone to rib cage is working to connect your trunk, so that as your arms float, they've got a stable foundational trunk. The arms will only move happily with the shoulder if there is stability. Inhaling, exhaling. Now, because you're not talking, you can use your breath out for re-engaging navel to spine. Your breath in for using the space that happened in the shoulder, and the breath out for re-engaging. We're going to stay at this next time. Stay there. People, you probably haven't got a mirror in front of you just because it's a home workout, but if you can do this standing position in front of a mirror, you'll notice whether or not you've got an elevated shoulder. All right, I'm holding this position here. Inhaling, I'm going to open both arms out and stretch at the elbow, so deliberately opening the elbow without the shoulder lifting. Exhale, close without the shoulder rounding. Inhaling, opening, feeling the upper arm take me back, and exhaling, navel to spine and closing. We could easily add weights to this. my purpose today is to re-educate. Having had people back in the studio, I'm aware that still the hardest sensation for most of us is finding that upper body alignment where the mid-rhomboid and mid-traps work with your obliques, and your arms therefore don't end up the weakling element that they could be because they're feeding off a stronger element. I'm more or less doing 10 of each of these positions so that the muscles we're trying to wake up and notice are starting to feel that they're asking to be noticed. The only cue would be that as your arms open, pull the navel in, pull the shoulders away from the neck and reach through the inside of the elbow. We're going to stay this time out. This is the T-shape. Go back to where your heels are, go back to where your pelvis is. In this T-shape then, inhale, pull the arms down, palms are facing the direction you're facing, and exhale, reach them away from the shoulder to pull them up. Exhaling, down they go. So this workout is perfect for people struggling with frozen shoulder. They call it the middle-aged woman syndrome, although men tend to get it because of sport or lack of postural ability to line up and be strong through the trunk. Inhaling, so all you golfers, tennis players, and generally COVID forward slouched people, this workout is perfect. As this workout carries on and you genuinely pull on the core area, the focus should take the arms feeling heavier and heavier, letting you realise that just moving your own limbs is a load. Once you've got that load under control, that your arms feel really easy doing all of this as a sequence, then you know you can add weights. Without the weight, you've got more chance to create space in your shoulder and make sure you don't blur the weakness of the shoulder stabilizers and the trunk. You've got this next one to stay up there. As we go up there, you'll hold and reach as though you could touch the sides of your rooms. Exhale now, navel to spine, and pull your shoulder blades back, inhale and forwards. The pulling back and forth will stretch your chest. If you have your palms still facing forwards and you have the reach as though the arm could come out of your shoulder joint itself, then there'll be a buzzy type of sensation going on. Remember, your knees aren't locked out because the hamstrings are stabilising, the obliques are stabilising, and the whole trunk stability from heel to armpit is happening. As you reach, that buzzy feeling is the nerves stretching, lengthening, along with the muscles lengthening and stabilising. You should feel this between the shoulder blades. Your sensation, if you're tight across the front of the chest, would feel a stretch. The muscle of the pec area, along with others, is lengthening out to allow the range of movement for your upper back to shorten through the mid to lower rhomboids and return to neutral. So it's as much important that the upper back activates, your arms are reaching. All day you have a bent elbow, one way or another. The amount of devices are all on, and the way life goes driving, you have a very, very bent elbow joint, which shortens out muscles and nerves. People, the next time your arms are out there, stay. Now inhale and bend as though you're doing hands up. Exhale and there you go. See if you can bend your arm at the elbow without your shoulder lifting. Exhaling and inhale. Crown of the head reaching to the ceiling. Go back through your basic principles. Your heels are loaded. Your knees aren't locked out. Your pelvic position, pelvic floor, navel to spine. No pelvic tucking right under to sort of get the thrust of the hip. You want pure neutral as best as you can take it. You're keeping your rib cage melting with every breath out. As you work now, the upper shoulder area, your deltoid, the cap over from the trunk to the arm is active. Stay here, breathe, exhale, squeeze your scapula backwards. Now notice whether or not the hand goes back more than the elbow. When we do this lying on the roller, it's easier to feel your alignment because the roller gives you your spinal grounding. Here, you're having to ground yourself against gravity, which is real life grounding. If it's too intense, take the elbows down and work here. You will notice a kind of asymmetry. Both sides of the body never work the same. Because life for us is either right or left-handed, you're never going to get the symmetry through living a normal life. You get the symmetry through things like Pilates conditioning. So this is functional Pilates workout for the upper body with the trunk stability. And as you take your arms back and forth, you're aware of whether one shoulder's tighter or weaker. There can't be any pinching, And if you find your wrist goes further back than your elbow, you're really tight on some of those forward muscles. People, the next time you're down here, stay, reach your arms out again, and you're drawing circles, keeping the palms facing forwards. Go back to a knowledge of your legs, and the longer levered you are, the more you need to be conscious of not locking out at the knees. I can feel now the whole of the deltoid muscle group, fronts, up and behind, and it's getting its length. You will get this down to the bicep. It's a tendon you're feeling rather than the actual bicep muscle itself, and it's being asked to lengthen as you create that space within the shoulder. Again, all I can say is, if you're struggling, take the arms lower down. You could decide that you've got the endurance of these fibres to gradually float them up without your shoulders elevating, and then gradually pull them down. People, you're going to turn the palm of the hand and then turn it back again. As you learn to turn the arm within the shoulder, keeping it like wings, I think, at this point, rather than T-shape, the origin of movement will always come trunk, upper arm to hand. So the rotation rotates the crease of your elbow as the arm moves. Now that should be a smooth, articulate, pleasant movement. If you find you're pinching the front of the shoulder, the chances are you're doing a bit of this. So you've got to keep that movement where it belongs. If it's a real struggle, just take it to palms down, palms up. If you can, keep your full range of movement, which will only occur you're reaching your arms out of the shoulder joints. Okay, this is 2 more. The upper back still active, 1 more, and then let that go. Final activity, as though you're saying ahoy there. Pull your shoulders back, line up, navel to spine. Exhaling, take your arm out and pull it down sideways. Inhaling, come back, bending at the elbow. Slide away and down, and it's as much about trunk stability as anything else. You're opening with the palm goes out, elbow open, palm out sideways and down. The emphasis of the exercises I've given you is to open the muscles, lengthen the muscles, create space in the shoulder rather than bulk and, I don't know, a lack of range. I'd rather that everyone has this lovely range of movement with appropriate shoulder mobilising than the kind of toned looking arms with nothing really there. Now both arms, out they go, and lift and low. This is your final activity. In this position here, if your palms are facing the ceiling, as you come down a bit, can you ask your armpit lats area, the armpit behind you as it were, to get involved in supporting the weight of your arm? The lift up and down again, it's not your shoulders, is it? Can you see that? It isn't the shoulders. Keep the elbow reaching, the palm is to the ceiling, the thumb's pulled backwards, and you're creating a lovely sense of space, albeit that the muscles around that space are getting warm, but it kind of feels right. Draw the navel to the spine, go back to a final awareness of your trunk stabilisation, as that is the only way you'll ever rehab anything in the upper body. Okay people, last 2 and last 1, and flow your arms down. They'll now feel really, really light. Go back to standing about middle of the mat. We're going to find your squat. So exhale, find the squat. Take the hands here and roll your shoulders, and the movement space that's now occurred there should feel lovely. Let the shoulders relax off, but connect them through the upper back. Ground your heels. You've got your roll down to ground. Breath out to nod the chin to the chest. Feel the upper back now stretch. Allow that stretch to take place as you bend your rib cage, spine down, down, down. The area you've been working with is your upper back, and it now feels lengthened and allowed to reach out. From there then, walk your hands to the end of your mat and then pull your body down so you end up in hands and knees. Line up your hands with the end of your mat, and for a moment, see if you can find the same upper body set of muscles that you had earlier. Obviously take time to check that you're in all fours kneeling and that everything is level using the lines of the mat. The next activity requires you to stay neutral. So maybe pelvic tilt and then go back. Use the breath out to pelvic tilt and then go back. Final pelvic tilt so that you know the fibres in the lower abdominal area supporting you through the upper body. From this position here then, the shoulder blades are going to pull towards each other. The chest is between the thumbs. That's known as retraction. They come away from the scapula in the direction of the spine. Keeping your breathing, on the next breath out, pull the shoulder blades away from each other, and now they go away from the spine, they protract, they slide around a bent rib cage. So your rib cage is very rounded, isn't it? Inhaling, let the scapula come together. Exhaling, navel to spine, and push the ground away. Inhaling, keep navel to spine, and imagine your breast going between your fingers or your pecs. Exhaling, press the ground away, and experience the slidey element of scapula around a rib cage. A rib cage is effectively round, isn't it? It's round your body, it's wrapping around all of your internal organs, your heart, etc., etc. So the ability of the shoulder blade to slide into retraction and slide into protraction will only happen with a neutral spine. You're not moving forwards or backwards, you're lowering and pushing the ground away. Inhale, final time, lowering. Breathe out to push the ground away, and then stay between the two. The two extremes, in between there is your neutral. Because we've done so much just now, and most of you will be feeling tired onto your arms, you're going to take your bottom back and bend your elbows down and let your head go down. So don't move your hands because you've got a great position. You're allowing the tension to go out of the area that we've just found activity. You're breathing in and out, letting the release come to the area that we're going to ask to work again. And then when you're ready, up you come back to hands and knees. I'm going to teach you a movement pattern that requires you to just walk your knees a little bit further back. We're going to go at it slowly and therapeutically. The first part of the move is obviously keep your shoulders away from the neck and find your lats and strats. You're in a neutral shoulder position. You'll lean backwards, but you won't let your shoulders go. So I've now hinged at the hip. Let's try that again. So hinge and pull. In fact, you know what? I'm going to ask you to do this. I can kind of visualize people doing this. So as you hinge back and pull forwards and hinge back, the lower back will stay in its alignment. Think straight back. The joint is a hinge of the hip. Now stay hinged back. You're now, without going any further back, going to pull your elbows to the floor and push back up again. Keep from sitting any further back. Lower your elbows down and pull the ground back up again. Pull your elbows back to pull yourself to the ground and pull your chest up. Next time you go back to the ground, stay. This is part 2. Pull your chest forwards and then push your arms straight. The breath in takes you back and elbows down. The breath out, you pull your chest forwards and you find yourself back over your thumbs. Inhaling, it's known as a tricep circular activity, and we use the foot bar on the reformer normally to achieve this. The carriage would normally take us backwards, whereas we're sliding ourselves backwards. Now that you're in there, I notice that my right elbow doesn't want to connect with my lats, in other words, my armpit. So I have to think harder through my right hand side. As I lower down, pull forwards and push the ground away. My emphasis therefore for me has to reorganise the armpit oblique through the right hand side. Inhale back, your shoulders haven't lost the position. Down they go, your armpits connect and you're pulling through the ground and up. We're going to do one more. This will be a work in progress, I know, I can visualise you. But it's a great rehab action as you come back up, and there you go. Well done, people. Take your body down, have a reach, and then lower yourself to the ground. First things first, reach the feet so that they find your bottom end of your mat, because that becomes a line that you can work with in sensory awareness. Next, once you've squiggled and wriggled through the pelvic area, place your hands so that they're wider than your shoulder but about the shoulder area, and your elbows are pulling up and back. So my elbows are up like wings, my nose points to the floor, and I'm starting my breath here. Breathing in and out,
The breath out takes your pubic bone to imprint and the rib cage scoops away from the mat, and my legs are reaching so that my thighs are tight but my feet are heavy. Inhale then, push the nose forwards and float the ribs up to the last rib. Exhaling, down you go. Inhale, it's that upper back area again. As you pull your shoulder blades towards each other, you'll get your rhomboids working for you. Breath in, the nose, the upper thoracic area, the neck. Pull the shoulder blades back, and again, I can still feel that my right hand side requires a little bit more focus from me than if I leave my body to its own devices. Inhaling, upper back, it's a baby cobra type of action. Exhaling. It's only happening through the upper spine. It's not happening in your lumbar spine, and the breath is still fundamental. The sense of imprinting by pubis being dominant protects your lumbar area. This is the last one. Inhaling up and breathing out and down. Stay here now, keep the legs long and strong, and take your hands ready for dart. Now, the other thing I noticed in the studio is people's ability to keep their arms here is impaired. So, keep the legs strong and long, pull them tight together, and let them go away again. Keep your arms, shoulder blades, squeeze the hands to the thighs and the shoulders together as the legs squeeze together, and exhale. If your hands don't come to the sides of your thighs, then you're working less than you could. We're never going to get postural stability without getting your upper body to be strong against gravity here. The pubic bone is still dominant. The upper back area is finding its form. Your abdominals work. The pubis definitely imprinted, and the legs aren't whacked up in the air. They're almost sliding across the ground as your scapula tries to find the other scapula. So it's shoulder blade, collarbones wide open, crown of the head reaching, staring down at the floor. Inner thighs activated to get part of the abs. Last two. Last one. And allow yourself to melt. Placing your hands under your shoulders there. Pull yourself back. And once again, finding the kind of child pose reaching stretch to make sure that any overly tensioned lower backs gets to disappear, and the muscles that we're keeping on asking to connect get to chill. Next position is hard, but hey, we like hard, don't we? You're going back to your single arm plank work once you get your hair out of your mouth, Tanya. So just here, the biggest deal is the ability to connect your armpit. This is your lineup. Have your hand so it's under your armpit, and I'm kind of aware of the back line of my mat. My hip follows my hand, my armpit. My thigh though is bent forwards of that place, and I'm very aware of my shin. So my underneath leg, which is the same leg as my arm that's being used, is backwards. My foot is lined up with the line behind at the back of the mat, and my other foot is definitely forwards of that. So I've created this space. These are the rules. Inhale, bend your elbow and lower down. Exhale, push away. Breathing in, pull your elbow down. Breathe out, press the ground away. So you're back to keeping your chest open. It's quite a demanding activity, and it's not unlike the all fours version where we're pulling our forearm down, therefore asking the tricep to work, but the shoulder stabilizers to stabilize. Going to do one more like this. Inhaling and exhaling. Stay. Now we ask the obliques and a straight arm to work, so big breath in. Exhale then, push the ground away, push into your shin, find your stability, breathe, inhale, lower, exhale, up. Again, this shoulder area stays true as you let the ground lower, using your lats and serrats, and now the obliques are all part of it, as you lower and lift. Inhaling down, notice the neck doesn't get lost, and up. Keep it so that your load opens the front of the shoulder, finds the lats at the back of the shoulder. Two more, lowering down and up, my crease on my elbows pointing forwards. Last time, and up, and let that go. Reorganise the body to find the other side. Remember the setup. Your hand goes towards the back of line of the mat, your hip follows the hand. The underneath foot with the leg bent is lined up with the back of the mat too. The top leg, that foot, is more or less around the knee. Remember, both sides are not the same. The first part of this activity, keep the shoulder open as your elbow pulls down to the ground and you push away. Breathe in and so your core stabilising all the way through here, and you're being concerned that the sensations are true. In other words, the back of the armpit, the tricep feels this, not the front and the cap of the shoulder. You're aware that you're asking your obliques to work to stabilise the body, and that's making it an honourable exercise for everyone's posture. Staying with this now, keep the shoulder away from the neck, put your hand against the thigh as we lift onto the side shin and lower. Exhale, press the ground away and inhale, lower it down. Push into the foot as well as the side shin and don't let your shoulder round. If keeping your hand here helps, then do so, but if you're just relatively weak through the trunk, then keep your hand pushing maybe against your thigh. As you lift and lower, breathe. Exhale, navel to spine, lift. Inhale, lowering, shoulder never meeting your ears or being lost in your neck. 2 more. Inhale down, last time, and back down we go. From that moment there, I was going to do another exercise, but I'm not going to because I'm aware that I'm taking longer than I thought I would, but I'm teaching therapeutically. We will finish after this rest with plank to single arm plank to single arm plank. Okay, so chill everything off and find then the plank setup. You take your body forwards again to the other end of your mat. You look down at where your knees are and your chest is between your thumbs. For plank to side plank, the way I teach it, your feet will go wider than normal. Think more or less nearly as wide as the mat. So here we go, people. Core connect, find your shoulder, mid, upper back, find your armpits. Push the ground away with your hands and then send out one leg without being dragged backwards. Then take your other leg without being dragged backwards and feel the ground between the feet and the hands. Breathe in, breathe out. Start to get onto the sides of your feet and pull your hand to your chest, your shoulder. Reach it up, breathe in, bring it back again and go to your toes and center. Breathe in, ground yourself. Other side, onto the sides of your feet. Hand to shoulder, arm to ceiling, hand to shoulder, and back again. Ground the posture. Breathe. Over we go. Opening. Breathe in. Back we come. Through the feet. Pelvic twist. And over. Breathe in. Feel the ground through the hands and the feet. And pivot. Shoulders away from the neck. And feel the ground. Walk those feet right over to the sides and feel the ground. Okay, this is the last time to the other side. Feel the ground. And next time you find the ground, stay and take the bottom up in the air. Make your feet level. In fact, you know what? Bring them tight together. Push the ground away. Now start to walk your hands back until you find yourself with straight legs. Bend the knees a tad if it's too tight, and then allow the arms to just drape by your feet. Your rib cage is bent, your legs are bent, your head is hanging, the abdomen is working to stabilise your lumbar lower back. On the next breath out, hands onto your thighs then, tuck your bottom under, and reverse rolling spine all the way back to stand. So as you stand and organise your clothing, go and have a look in the mirror. And when you look in the mirror, just see whether your shoulders are a little bit more chilled, whether there's more symmetry,
and if you can hold a standing position relatively easily. That's all there is today. Hopefully you can use the workouts from Monday, Tuesday and today and make a little theme of them for your own time at home, getting yourself stronger. They all reflect something of what's happening in the studio on the reformers, particularly for those that want homework for the reformer, but also those that are still working from home due to lots of COVID issues. Anyway, it's a goodbye from me and a thank you for this time that we've shared together. I'll go and turn off all my equipment. Bye.